I thought I was helping my two roommates find each other, until I realized they were both looking for me instead. Noah Bennett had always believed he understood people better than he understood himself. At 24 years old, he had a habit of noticing the smallest details about everyone around him. He remembered how people liked their coffee, what made them laugh, and when someone needed a little extra encouragement. To Noah, helping others feel comfortable was just part of who he was. That was exactly why he was certain his newest idea would succeed. When Noah moved into a 3-bedroom apartment near his college campus, he met Evan Mitchell and Ryan Carter. From the first week, Noah noticed how different they were. Evan was calm, organized, and quiet. He preferred peaceful evenings, meaningful conversations, and having time to think before sharing his thoughts. Ryan was completely different. He was energetic, friendly, and always ready to bring excitement into ordinary moments. Noah watched them interact and immediately saw something he thought they could not see themselves. They balanced each other perfectly. One brought stability, the other brought energy. Noah smiled when he first imagined the possibility. They just need someone to help them notice it, he thought. So Noah decided to become their unofficial matchmaker. He started with small things. He suggested dinners together after classes. He invited them both to explore new places around the city. He created opportunities for conversations and shared experiences. In Noah's mind, every moment was another step toward helping Evan and Ryan discover their connection. He never questioned his role because he was comfortable being the person behind the scenes. But the first sign that something was different appeared during their first group dinner. Noah had carefully chosen a restaurant that matched both of their personalities. It was quiet enough for Evan, but interesting enough for Ryan. He expected them to spend the evening learning more about each other. Instead, they kept asking Noah questions. Evan wanted to know how Noah's week had been. Ryan wanted to hear about Noah's favorite places around town. Noah laughed and assumed they were simply being polite. They are just becoming more comfortable, he told himself. He did not notice the way Evan listened carefully whenever Noah spoke. He did not notice how Ryan always looked for ways to include him in conversations. Noah was too focused on creating a connection between two people to realize that a different connection was already forming. Over the next few weeks, Noah continued building his plan. He organized movie nights, shared meals, and casual outings. Every time he saw Evan and Ryan laughing together, he felt proud. He believed he was watching the beginning of something special. But what Noah did not understand was that the story was slowly changing. The person who brought everyone together was becoming the person everyone wanted to be closer to. And Noah Bennett had no idea that the perfect match he was searching for might not be between his two roommates at all. Noah Bennett was certain his plan was moving in the right direction. Every small moment between Evan Mitchell and Ryan Carter felt like another sign that his idea was working. He believed that if he created enough opportunities, the two roommates would eventually discover how naturally they connected. Noah never questioned why he enjoyed planning these moments so much. He simply thought he was helping two people find something meaningful. After all, making others happy had always been the easiest thing for him to do. During the following weeks, Noah continued creating chances for Evan and Ryan to spend time together. He suggested weekend activities, shared dinners, and casual trips around the city. He carefully considered both of their personalities. If Evan preferred a quiet environment, Noah chose places where they could have thoughtful conversations. If Ryan wanted something more exciting, Noah found activities that brought more energy into their day. Noah believed he understood exactly what they needed. But slowly, something unexpected began happening. The more Noah tried to bring Evan and Ryan closer, the more they started paying attention to him. Evan began noticing Noah's daily habits. He noticed how Noah always prepared extra coffee in the morning because he remembered everyone's preferences. He noticed how Noah stayed late to help with assignments even when he had his own responsibilities waiting. Evan had always been someone who valued actions more than words, and Noah's small gestures stood out to him. Meanwhile, Ryan noticed different things. He noticed how Noah could make an unfamiliar place feel comfortable. He noticed how Noah always found a way to include everyone in conversations. Ryan was used to bringing energy into a room, but Noah was the person who made that energy feel welcomed. One evening, Noah invited Evan and Ryan to a small restaurant near campus. He had carefully chosen the location because he believed it represented both of their personalities. Evan would enjoy the peaceful atmosphere, and Ryan would enjoy the interesting menu and lively environment. Noah sat across from them, waiting for the moment when they would start discovering more about each other. Instead, Evan asked Noah about his future plans. Ryan asked Noah about the things he enjoyed outside of school. Noah answered while smiling, assuming they were simply being friendly. They are just getting comfortable, Noah thought. But Evan and Ryan were noticing something different. They were beginning to understand that Noah was not just someone who created good moments. He was the reason those moments felt meaningful. After dinner, the three roommates walked back to their apartment together. Noah talked excitedly about how well Evan and Ryan were getting along. He pointed out their similarities and explained why he thought they made a great match. Evan and Ryan listened quietly. They both realized Noah was completely unaware of the effect he had on them. Later that night, while Noah was writing new ideas for future activities, Evan and Ryan had a conversation of their own. They talked about Noah's kindness, his patience, and the way he always placed everyone else first. They both agreed on one thing. Noah was trying to create a connection between two people, but he had accidentally become the most important connection in the apartment. The next morning, Noah woke up ready to continue his plan. He grabbed his notebook and started thinking about the next opportunity for Evan and Ryan to bond. He had no idea that while he was planning their future together, they were already starting to wonder about a future that included him. Noah Bennett still believed he was watching the beginning of something special between Evan Mitchell and Ryan Carter. Every day, he searched for small signs that his plan was working. A shared joke between them, a longer conversation, a moment where their different personalities seemed to fit perfectly together. Noah saw these things and felt proud because he believed he was helping two people discover a connection they might have missed. What he did not notice was that Evan and Ryan were starting to discover something completely different. They were discovering Noah. The first person to realize this change was Evan. He had always been someone who paid attention to details, but lately, he found himself noticing Noah more than usual. He noticed how Noah remembered everyone's favorite snacks when buying groceries. He noticed how Noah quietly solved small problems in the apartment before anyone asked for help. He noticed how Noah always made sure everyone felt included, even when Noah was the one who needed support. One afternoon, Evan came home earlier than expected and found Noah organizing a schedule for the apartment. Noah had created a list of shared activities, meal ideas, and plans that he thought would help Evan and Ryan spend more quality time together. Evan looked at the notebook and smiled. "You really spend a lot of time thinking about other people," he said. Noah laughed. "Someone has to make sure things go smoothly." Evan looked at him carefully. "But who makes sure things go smoothly for you?" Noah did not have an answer. The question stayed in his mind longer than he expected. Later that evening, Ryan noticed the same thing in his own way. Ryan had always been the person who brought excitement into every room. He loved making people laugh and creating memorable moments. But around Noah, he discovered something different. He did not feel like he had to constantly entertain anyone. Noah accepted quiet moments just as much as fun ones. Ryan realized that Noah made people feel comfortable without even trying. During a weekend outing, Noah once again tried to create the perfect situation for Evan and Ryan. He suggested visiting a local market, thinking they would enjoy exploring together. But throughout the afternoon, both Evan and Ryan kept including Noah in every decision. They asked what he wanted to see, what food he wanted to try, and what places interested him. Noah smiled and assumed they were simply being considerate. He still believed the focus was on helping them connect. But Evan and Ryan were seeing the truth more clearly. The reason they enjoyed spending time together was because Noah was there. He was the person who made every experience feel meaningful. That night, Noah sat at his desk and wrote another plan for the next activity. He carefully considered what Evan and Ryan would enjoy. He thought about their personalities, their interests, and how he could create another perfect opportunity. But across the apartment, Evan and Ryan were having a conversation about Noah. They talked about how rare it was to meet someone who cared so naturally. They realized Noah was not just a roommate who brought them together. He was the reason the apartment felt like home. The next morning, Noah woke up ready to continue his mission. He believed the perfect match was still something he needed to create. He did not realize the most important connection had already formed, and it was the one he never planned. Noah Bennett was convinced that his plan only needed a little more time. He believed that Evan Mitchell and Ryan Carter were getting closer every day, and he was certain that one more carefully planned moment would help them finally recognize what he had seen from the beginning. Noah had always trusted his ability to understand people, but he never considered that his understanding might be incomplete. He could see the connection between others, but he struggled to recognize the connection people had with him. One Friday evening, Noah decided to organize what he called the perfect roommate night. He prepared dinner at the apartment, choosing dishes that matched both Evan and Ryan's preferences. He arranged the table, selected a movie they could all enjoy, and imagined the two roommates having another meaningful conversation. In Noah's mind, this was another step toward bringing them closer. But the evening did not unfold the way he expected. Instead of focusing on each other, Evan and Ryan kept focusing on Noah. When Noah mentioned a movie he wanted to watch, they agreed immediately. When Noah shared a story from his week, they listened carefully. When Noah laughed, they both smiled because seeing him happy mattered more than the plan itself. Noah noticed their kindness, but misunderstood the reason behind it. "You two are getting along better," he said with satisfaction. Evan looked at Ryan for a moment before answering. "Maybe." Noah tilted his head. "Maybe." Ryan smiled slightly. "You always assume everything is about helping other people." Noah laughed because he thought Ryan was joking, but the comment stayed with him. Later that night, after they finished dinner, Noah stepped into the kitchen to clean while Evan and Ryan remained in the living room. They talked quietly about something they had both noticed. Noah had spent so much effort trying to create a relationship between them that he had never stopped to consider the relationship he was building with both of them. Evan explained that Noah was the kind of person who made others feel important without asking for anything in return. Ryan agreed and said that was exactly why spending time with Noah felt different. Meanwhile, Noah stood in the kitchen thinking about their words. He wondered why the idea of Evan and Ryan becoming closer suddenly felt different. Before, he had been excited about seeing his plan succeed. Now, he felt strangely uncertain. He did not understand why he cared so much about their attention or why their opinions mattered to him. The next day, Noah decided to test himself. Instead of planning an activity for everyone, he simply asked Evan and Ryan what they wanted to do. For the first time, he stopped trying to control the outcome. The result surprised him. They spent the afternoon doing simple things. They walked around the neighborhood, visited a small cafe, and talked about random topics without any plan. Noah realized the best moments were not the ones he created perfectly. They were the ones that happened naturally. As the day ended, Noah watched Evan and Ryan laugh together and felt something unfamiliar. He was happy, but not because his plan was working. He was happy because he was part of the moment. For the first time, Noah began to question the story he had created in his mind. Maybe he was not the person standing outside the connection. Maybe he was the reason the connection existed at all. Noah Bennett thought he had finally learned the secret to making his plan work. The answer was not creating bigger moments or more carefully designed situations. It was simply allowing things to happen naturally. After spending so much time trying to bring Evan Mitchell and Ryan Carter closer together, Noah decided to step back and observe. He wanted to see what would happen if he stopped arranging every conversation and every activity. What he discovered surprised him more than anything else. Without Noah trying to guide them, Evan and Ryan still found reasons to spend time together. But instead of becoming closer only to each other, they continued finding ways to include Noah. It became impossible for him to ignore the pattern. One evening, Noah came home after a long day and found that Evan and Ryan had already prepared dinner. Noah immediately apologized for being late and started explaining that he should have helped more. Evan smiled and told him to relax. Ryan laughed and said, "You know you are allowed to just enjoy something, right?" Noah smiled, but the comment stayed with him. He was so used to being the person who provided comfort that receiving it felt unfamiliar. During dinner, Noah noticed how different Evan and Ryan were in the way they showed care. Evan paid attention to small details. He remembered things Noah mentioned weeks earlier and quietly made sure they mattered. Ryan showed care through his energy and encouragement. He could always find a way to make Noah feel less stressed after a difficult day. They were completely different people, but both of them seemed to understand Noah in a way he had not expected. For the first time, Noah wondered if he had been looking at the situation from the wrong direction. He had spent weeks studying Evan and Ryan's personalities, trying to determine why they were a good match. But he never asked himself why he felt so comfortable around them. The answer was becoming clearer. They did not need Noah because he helped them connect. They wanted Noah because of who he was. The realization made Noah uncomfortable because it challenged everything he believed about himself. He was used to being useful, He was used to being the person who solved problems and created happiness for others. But what happened when people cared about him without needing him to do anything? That question followed him throughout the week. One afternoon, Noah sat with Evan at a small coffee shop near campus. The conversation started casually, but eventually Evan asked him something unexpected. "Do you ever let people take care of you?" Noah laughed softly. "I think I am pretty independent." Evan nodded. "That was not really my question." Noah became quiet because he knew Evan was right. Later, Ryan asked him a similar question in his own way. He told Noah that the best moments in the apartment were not the ones Noah planned. They were the moments when Noah simply relaxed and enjoyed being there. Noah began realizing that the connection he created was not built on perfect planning. It was built on trust, honesty, and the small moments they shared together. That night, Noah opened his notebook and looked at all the plans he had written. For the first time, he did not think about how to bring Evan and Ryan closer. Instead, he wondered why he had been trying so hard to stand outside a story that already included him. Noah Bennett spent the next few days thinking about everything he had learned. For the first time since moving into the apartment, he stopped trying to predict what would happen next. He stopped creating plans, stopped searching for the perfect moment, and stopped looking for signs that Evan Mitchell and Ryan Carter were becoming closer. Instead, he simply paid attention to what was already happening around him. And the more he noticed, the more he realized how much he had overlooked. Evan and Ryan were not just becoming closer to each other. They were becoming closer to him. It showed in the smallest moments. When Noah had a busy week filled with assignments, Evan quietly made sure he had time to rest. When Noah seemed stressed, Ryan found a way to bring some happiness back into the day. Neither of them expected anything from Noah. They simply wanted him to feel appreciated. That was the part Noah found hardest to understand. He had spent years believing that his value came from what he could do for other people. Being helpful made him feel important. Creating happiness for others made him feel like he had a purpose. But now, two people were showing him that he could matter even when he was not doing anything. One Saturday morning, the three roommates spent time together at the apartment. There was no special plan, no carefully chosen activity, no hidden goal. They simply cooked breakfast, talked about random topics, and enjoyed a quiet morning. Noah noticed how natural everything felt. He did not have to manage the conversation. He did not have to make sure everyone was having fun. He could just be himself. That realization was both comforting and unfamiliar. Later that day, Noah sat with Evan near the apartment window. Evan looked outside and said, "You know, when you first moved in, you were always trying to create the perfect situation for everyone." Noah smiled. "I guess that is just how I am." Evan shook his head gently. "Maybe, but you should not have to earn your place by making everything perfect." Noah stayed quiet because those words reached something he rarely admitted. He was afraid that if he stopped helping, people might stop needing him. That evening, Ryan had a similar conversation with him. Ryan told Noah that the apartment changed because of his presence, not because of the plans he created. "You think you brought us together," Ryan said, "but you are the reason we all feel connected." Noah did not know how to respond. He had spent so much time trying to understand Evan and Ryan's relationship that he had ignored his own feelings. He finally saw the truth that had been in front of him all along. The connection was not built because of his plans. It was built because of the person he was every day. Kind, patient, thoughtful, real. That night, Noah opened his notebook again. The pages were filled with ideas about how to bring Evan and Ryan closer. But this time, he did not add another plan. Instead, he wrote a single sentence about himself. For the first time, Noah was not trying to create a perfect future for everyone else. He was allowing himself to be part of the future he had already helped create. And somewhere between trying to connect two people, Noah finally started understanding that he had created a place where he belonged too. Noah Bennett had spent so much time trying to understand Evan Mitchell and Ryan Carter that he never expected the moment when they would try to help him understand himself. After weeks of quietly observing the changes in their apartment, Noah finally stopped searching for answers outside of himself. He began accepting that something meaningful had grown between the three of them, something that could not be explained by his original plan. But even after realizing this, Noah still struggled with one question. What exactly was his place in their lives? For Evan and Ryan, the answer was becoming clearer every day. Noah was not simply the roommate who created opportunities or the person who made everyone feel comfortable. He was the person who changed the atmosphere of their home. Without Noah, the apartment was just a place where three people lived. With Noah, it became a place where they felt understood. One evening, the three roommates sat together after dinner. There was no special occasion, no carefully planned activity, and no hidden purpose. They were simply enjoying a normal night at home. Noah looked around and realized how different everything felt compared to the first day he moved in. Back then, he was focused on creating a connection between Evan and Ryan. Now, he was sitting with two people who had become an important part of his own life. During the conversation, Evan asked Noah something unexpected. "Do you remember why you wanted us to spend more time together when we first moved in?" Noah smiled. "Because I thought you two would understand each other." Evan nodded. "And what about you?" Noah looked confused. "What about me?" Ryan answered with a gentle smile. "You always talk about what other people need, but you rarely talk about what you want." Noah became quiet. It was the same question he had been avoiding since the beginning. He knew how to create happiness for others, but he was still learning how to accept happiness for himself. Evan explained that he appreciated Noah because Noah never tried to change him. Noah simply accepted him. Ryan added that Noah made him feel comfortable being himself instead of always trying to bring energy into every situation. Hearing those words made Noah realize something important. The reason they cared about him was not because he helped them. It was because of who he was when he was not trying to help anyone. For the first time, Noah allowed himself to imagine a different future. A future where he was not the person standing behind everyone else. A future where he could be seen, understood, and valued. The next few days felt different. Noah still cared about Evan and Ryan. He still enjoyed making people happy. But he no longer believed his purpose was to arrange everyone else's happiness while ignoring his own. He started sharing more about himself. He talked about his goals, his worries, and the things he wanted to experience. Evan and Ryan listened with the same patience Noah had always given them. Slowly, Noah realized that letting people know him was its own kind of trust. That weekend, the three roommates spent another simple day together. They walked around the city, visited familiar places, and talked about their future plans. Nothing about the day was perfect or carefully arranged. Yet it became one of Noah's favorite memories. Because for once, he was not creating a moment for someone else. He was living one for himself. And as Noah looked at Evan and Ryan beside him, he finally understood the truth he had been missing from the beginning. The connection he spent so much time building was never something he created from the outside. It was something he had been a part of all along. Noah Bennett had finally stopped trying to control every moment of his life. For the first time since moving into the apartment, he allowed himself to experience things without searching for a hidden meaning behind them. He no longer looked at every conversation between Evan Mitchell and Ryan Carter as proof that his plan was succeeding. Instead, he started seeing the three of them as something that had grown naturally through trust, patience, and understanding. This change was small, but it completely transformed the way Noah viewed his everyday life. Before, Noah believed his role was simple. He was the person who helped others become happier. He was the person who noticed what people needed before they even said it. But now, he was learning that relationships were not built by one person constantly giving. They were built when everyone had the chance to care for each other. Evan noticed this change immediately. The quiet roommate who had always observed Noah from a distance began seeing a different side of him. Noah was still thoughtful and kind, but he was no longer hiding behind his helpful nature. He laughed more easily. He shared his opinions more often. He allowed himself to be part of conversations instead of always guiding them. Ryan noticed the change as well. The energetic roommate who once relied on Noah to create exciting moments started realizing that the best memories were not the ones Noah planned. They were the simple moments when all three of them could relax and be themselves. One afternoon, the three roommates spent time together at a local park. There was no special reason for the trip. Noah did not organize it to help Evan and Ryan become closer. They simply wanted to enjoy the day together. They walked, talked, and shared stories about their past experiences. Noah listened as Evan and Ryan opened up about their own hopes and challenges. For once, Noah was not analyzing their personalities or searching for signs of compatibility. He was simply present. That evening, while they were returning home, Noah realized something important. He had always thought connection came from finding the right people for each other. But now he understood. That connection came from allowing people to truly see each other. Evan and Ryan did not need Noah to create their bond. They needed Noah to be honest about his own feelings and allow them to know him. Later that night, the three roommates sat together in the apartment. They talked about how much had changed since they first met. Noah laughed when he remembered how determined he was to make everything work according to his original idea. Evan smiled and said, "You really thought you were the person outside the story." Ryan added, "But you were part of it from the beginning." Noah looked around the room and realized how true those words were. The apartment was no longer just a place where three roommates shared expenses and responsibilities. It had become a place where they supported each other and created memories together. Noah had spent so much time trying to find the perfect connection for Evan and Ryan that he almost missed the connection growing around him. But now he understood. He did not need to prove that he belonged. He did not need to earn his place by constantly helping others. He was already important to the people around him. As the weeks passed, their lives continued with normal routines. Classes, work, responsibilities, and everyday challenges remained. But something had changed. Noah was no longer afraid of being seen. He was no longer afraid of accepting care from others. And the person who once believed he was only the person who brought people together finally understood that he was also someone worth choosing. Months passed, and Noah Bennett began to see his life differently. The apartment that once felt like a place where he needed to create something special had become the place where he discovered something special about himself. He no longer measured his importance by how much he could do for other people. He no longer believed he needed to solve every problem or create every perfect moment. Instead, he learned that being valued was not about constantly giving. Sometimes, it was about allowing others the chance to give back. Evan Mitchell and Ryan Carter noticed the difference in Noah too. The person who once spent every day thinking about everyone else had finally started making space for himself. Noah still cared deeply about his roommates, but now he shared his own thoughts, his own dreams, and even his own uncertainties. The three of them had created something that was stronger than Noah's original plan because it was never based on expectations. It was based on understanding. One evening, the three roommates sat together in the living room, looking back at how everything had changed since the day Noah first moved in. They laughed about how Noah had been convinced he could predict the perfect connection between two people. He remembered how confidently he had created schedules, planned activities, and searched for signs that Evan and Ryan were becoming closer. "I really thought I had everything figured out," Noah admitted with a smile. Evan looked at him and replied, "You did figure something out. You just did not realize it was about yourself." Ryan agreed and added, "You wanted to help everyone find where they belonged, but you never considered that you belonged too." Those words stayed with Noah. He thought about all the moments he had almost overlooked because he was too focused on his original goal. He remembered the conversations, the small acts of kindness, and the times when Evan and Ryan showed him that he mattered. The truth was simple. Noah had not created a connection between two people. He had created a home where three people could be honest, comfortable, and accepted. The next morning, Noah looked around the apartment while making coffee. The familiar space felt different, even though nothing had changed. The same table stood by the window. The same books were on the shelves. The same quiet morning filled the room. But Noah was different. He finally understood that he was not just the person who brought people together. He was someone who deserved to be included in the happiness he created. As time continued, Evan and Ryan remained important parts of Noah's life. They continued supporting each other through busy schedules, personal goals, and everyday challenges. There were no perfect days, and there was no need for everything to go exactly as planned. The beauty of their connection came from the ordinary moments they shared. Noah once believed he was searching for the perfect match for two people. In the end, he discovered something much more meaningful. He found a place where he could be himself, surrounded by people who saw his value. The person who spent so long helping others find connection finally understood that he was never outside the story. He had been at the center of it all along.